This is a fan-generated show. If you would like to support us, please go to jamieglazov.com and also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. All your support is greatly appreciated.
Hello, this is the Barak Lurie Moment brought to you by the Glazov Gang. Today I want to talk to you about the importance of relationships, the God-infused kind of relationships, and why it's so important to understand the essence of relationships in all of our lives. This is far more important than we ever imagined. Look, in my recent book, coming up in September, Rise of the Sex Machines, I talk about how culture and technology is not only changing but destroying our notions of sex, marriage, and yes, relationships. In fact, the complete destruction of relationships altogether. I call it the have it your way culture, borrowing from the refrain from the old Burger King commercials, right? Have it your way. Everything is about the individual needs, as opposed to the obligation of each person to have a relationship, whether it's sexual, romantic, or just friendly, or even a employer-employee relationship. Relationships are everything at the end of the day. If you believe in God, as I do, then you come to understand that God is in everything, and that, therefore, everything that you do should be with God in mind. We also learn from any serious Jewish or Christian theologian that at the end of the day, God wants us to be good to each other. That's the essence. Whether it's the Bible or otherwise, you are looking at relationships, the way that people interact with each other. Whether it's Moses and Pharaoh, or the Israelites versus the Egyptians, whether it's the Israelites versus the Philistines, and so on down the line, and then individuals between each other, those relationships are constantly throughout in the Bible. And it's about relating to each other that matters at the end of the day. So, relationships matter. Everything is about the relationship. But without God, there is no need for the relationship, is there? I mean, yes, you can argue in order to function in society, you need to be nice to other people. Yes, I get that. But you need something more. You need a sense that it is not just logical, but that it is moral to have good relationships. In Judaism, we say that one of the most important questions that God will ask us at the end of the day, when you're in heaven, is how did you comport yourself in business? Because we understand that in the world of business, where we spend, 9 to 12 hours a day for some people, that you are engaging in countless different relationships. And so therefore, it's emblematic of the way we need to treat each other, to have relationships with each other. But the relationship is dying, my friends. How so? In a world without God, there is no need for the relationship. Let me explain. Look at the new transgender movement, for example, where it's all about not what you have as an obligation to other people, but it's only about how you identify about yourself sexually. That's it. So there are some 57 genders or so, perhaps many more to come in the future. But each one of them is about what you as an individual want sexually, right? If you're a pansgender person, well, that means you prefer to have sex with all different kinds of things, not just humans, apparently. I don't know quite how to define it, but that's not important right now. It's all about how you chase your orgasm. It's not about the relationship, the hard work that goes into a relationship. And you're seeing this even more so when it comes to people who've decided that they don't even need to get married. Marriage was an obligation, and it still is an obligation. The sense of till death do us part, in sickness and in health and poverty and richness or whatever it might be, whatever their circumstances might be, you make a vow to continue the relationship with a capital R. It's not about what is convenient for you, but that is going the way of the dodo. It is becoming extinct. It's a big problem. More and more, many of us are now seeing single women deciding to have children on their own. They go to a sperm bank. They figure, I'm going to have a baby because I really want a baby, and then I'll find a relationship after that. They'll do things backwards, they say. No big deal. Of course, it does become a big deal, and it becomes very hard to find a relationship after they have a kid for a variety of circumstances. But I'm not even talking about that. Now it's happening even with men. Men are having children through surrogate mothers or women who will have their child with the sperm, of course, that they donated into it, and they will have a child through that. And I spoke to such a friend recently, and I said, "Why did you choose to have that?" He seems to be a good-looking guy. He's doing very well for himself financially. He's social. He's gregarious. All the good things. What woman wouldn't want to be with this guy? He's one of those nice guys. And he said to me very plainly, I don't want to have to deal with somebody and fight with her all the time as to how to raise the kid. And frankly, I just want to do things on my own. I can have my own fun whenever I want to, sexually. And I want to raise the kid in the way that I want to. I don't want to have any obligations. I don't want to have to answer to anybody. This was a perfect thing for him. And guess what? Society has applauded him, has applauded the women who decided to have their own kids as well. More and more, we're seeing children being born into families out of wedlock. Even if they are just boyfriend and girlfriend, it's still out of wedlock. The notion of the relationship is very tentative, very unimportant in the concept that we're seeing in our culture today. It's a very worrisome trend. And it's a trend I see the origins in the increased godlessness of our society. More and more people are choosing to opt out of any sense of faith. Why? Because faith requires a sense of accounting, a sense of responsibility, an understanding of, wait for it, the notion of relationships. Everything you learn in church, everything you learn in synagogue is in some way a form of obligation to other people and how we interact with other people. But if you live in a world where everything is about you, as we are now learning from our culture and our technology, then why get married at all? Why have a relationship at all? And so people are so surprised when people get lost in their video games. It's all about them. And the people that they may kill in these video games, they don't have any feelings about it. And you yourself may die in these video games, but it's all a big game. Everything is also virtual in every other way. All that matters is what you feel for yourself. And that's all that counts. And that's the part of the transgender movement as well. How do you feel today? Do you feel like a woman? Great, you're a woman today then. And that's all we care about. You want to call yourself a she? Great, go ahead. What's your preferred pronoun? Everything is about the individual and not any sort of give back to society at all. And so people are very surprised when I make the announcement or the prediction that one day, indeed, we are going to have people pursue sex robots as a primary form of their relationship, to the extent that you even call that a relationship. That is what's going to happen. By the year 2030, if not sooner, you will hear more and more women especially, saying, I lost my husband or my boyfriend to a sex robot. Why? Because for precisely the same reason that my gentleman friend there tells me that he doesn't want to get married himself. He wants to raise kids himself. He can do this all by himself with nannies and otherwise. He doesn't need the relationship. Relationships involve hard work. And who needs the harassment accusations? Who needs the concerns when you engage in sex that the woman that you're with might one day accuse you of rape, not just a day later, but maybe a month later, maybe years later? You don't need that. That's what they think. Whereas in a world with God, everything would be about the relationship. It's highlighted, it's expected that you would get married one day. It was always this way until the past couple of decades. That is what's falling apart, my friends. The end of God in our civilization means the end of relationships. It's not just the me culture. It's the culture where nobody else matters whatsoever. This have a way your culture is very destructive. It's something to be alarmed about. Something that should cause us to all run toward a world with God, to embrace Him, and to understand that we cannot move forward in our civilization without Him. Please support the Glazov Gang at jamieglazov.com and make sure to subscribe to the Jamie Glazov YouTube channel. Thanks so much.